Welcome back, everybody, to Crows of Judgment, and I wanted to talk about the Scott Cawthon situation that's been going on, and Toy Bounty Hunters has uploaded his video on it. Toy Bounty Hunters is a good friend of the channel, and to be very clear, we talk like all the time, and I think we probably have the exact same opinion on this one. So if you've already checked out Toy Bounty Hunters' video, probably going to hear a lot of the same things if I had to guess, but let me get into it. But shout out to Toy Bounty Hunters. His channel is linked in the description. He's a very good friend of this channel, so make sure that you check him out. He is great when it comes to just giving like really good analysis on things. And if you are interested in things like Toka Sentai, Toy Bounty Hunters is like the man for that. But how did this drama with Scott Cawthon begin? So, Scott Cawthon political controversy mega thread. Now, these threads have all been locked on the Five Nights at Freddy's subreddit. And for those of you who don't know who Scott Cawthon is, he's the guy behind Five Nights at Freddy's. And essentially, Scott is a Republican and a Christian. And before he made the Five Nights at Freddy's, and again, shout out to Toy Bounty Hunters, he was making like Christian video games, right? And, good on him, right? Like, as someone who's Muslim, if a Muslim wants to make games that, are about their faith, go for it. Like, I think that's the best way of understanding someone's culture and everything. But essentially, because he is a Republican and because he is a Christian, he has been, I guess, criticized by, and I'm not trying to put words in anyone's mouth, but it seems like it became this whole thing with LGBTQ users and how they were upset about it. And I'm like, I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's, but to my understanding, there's nothing to do with politics in the game. There's nothing to do with his faith in the game. It's literally just a fun game that people enjoy. Now, it's not my cup of tea, but I've always been someone who has to say, like, separate the art from the artist. And if you've ever heard me talk about the art community, you would know I appreciate a lot of the art that they do. I don't care for their opinions, and I will support certain people even if I disagree with them. I'm not going to sit there and like try to cancel them over it. Now, this is just they pulled up his political donations and things of that nature. And if Scott was doing something like donating to like conversion therapy and things like that, okay, that's a little different, but that's not what he's been doing at all. And I can't find like statements that are anti-LGBTQ and all that other stuff. It literally seems like they're just upset because he's a Christian Republican. And full disclosure, everybody knows I'm Muslim. I'm also a registered Republican. I'm from California, and a lot of the reasons why is because California is a trash state that's heavy blue, and I disagree with a lot of their solutions to solve problems in that state. So I registered as a Republican. I've skipped out on voting before because I didn't like either candidate. Some people said I should probably go independent because I really liked Andrew Yang before, not so much now. But just full disclosure for everybody, if that's important to you, I don't think I've ever made my political leanings private. I'm pretty open about what I believe in. But I saw this and I was like, this is fucked up. This is like really fucked up. So this, I guess, was the original thread. Whoever made it, it's been deleted. I don't know if they deleted it or the moderators deleted it, but they had to lock it as well. They've had to make mod post about this. And I'm just talking about how, like, they have to remove this content. People calling him out, people, making these stances and stuff like that. I guess Scott's, he's been doxxed and things of that nature, which is just disgusting to me. But Scott put out a statement. I want to read through the statement, give my opinions on it, because I look at this and I'm just, to me, this is being intolerant, right? This is absolutely being intolerant. And there's this saying among people on the, I want to say people on left, I guess like the super, super wokey people, where they go, you can't tolerate intolerance. Well, I mean, if a guy's Christian and that upsets you, then I don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say. Because, as someone who's Muslim, and there are things that I disagree with my faith, or at least the large consensus of people that share my faith when it comes to the LGBTQ community, right? But I've noticed that even though Islam is far, far, far more intolerant, like if you listen to some of the things being said towards the LGBTQ community, I've always found it weird that people will like savage Christianity, and then give Islam a pass, right? It's something that I think if it really does concern you, I've just never understood that. I never have, because it really just seems like you're just attacking a faith for the sake of attacking a faith. And bringing up other people have gone through this, like Vic Mignogna, right? There's this famous video of Vic Mignogna at a convention, right? And there are these anti-gay Christian protesters, right? And Vic Mignogna, who is a very religious Christian, walked right up to them and condemned them and said, gay people are God's children too. And he's been called, like they've called Vic Mignogna a homophobe, right? So seeing this, while it doesn't surprise me, I think it's only getting worse, because like this guy's game has nothing to do with politics. It's got nothing to do with his faith. It's really absurd and disgusting to me. This message isn't specifically directly at the Reddit community. That's clever. This is just the community that I care about the most and where I choose to post these things. I never cared much for Twitter anyway. To say that the last few days have been surreal would be an understatement. I debate greatly how best to address this, including not addressing it at all, but with so many people from the LGBT community in the fan base that I love, that's not an option. I'd like to think that these last 7 years would have given me the benefit of the doubt in regards to how I try to treat people, but there I was, trending on Twitter for being a homophobe, getting doxxed, with people threatening to come to my house. My wife is 6 weeks pregnant, and she spent the last night in fear because of what was being said online. She's already been struggling with her pregnancy, so seeing her so afraid really scared me. All this because I exercised my right and my duty as an American citizen to vote for and support the candidates who I felt could best run the country for everyone, and that's something that I won't apologize for. And you shouldn't, and you really shouldn't. Look, I mean, anytime someone gets doxxed, if that's the response, because he's a Republican, because he's a Christian, they immediately called him a homophobe. That's disgusting to me. And then because they declared him a homophobe, that made the most intolerant people that you will ever see on social media decide that gave them free reign to dox the guy. And finding out that his wife is fucking pregnant at the time, well, they're threatening to come to his home, like, stress can very negatively affect a pregnancy. It can. So that is so much worse, right? For those who took the time to look, you saw the candidates I supported, including men, women, white people, black people, Republicans, and Democrats. I supported Kimberly Klacik in Baltimore because I believe that she really cared for the African-American community there and wanted to pull them out of poverty. I believe she could have really made a difference in a time when so many black communities were struggling. She lost, unfortunately. I supported Tulsi Gabbard. I think Tulsi Gabbard's great, too. A Democrat, even though I disagree with her on several issues because I felt she would have been a good and fair president. And yes, I supported President Trump because I felt he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say to the LGBT community directly and bigger promises to make, I believe that their stances on other issues would have ended up doing much greater harm to these communities than good. All of this explanation, I fear, is wasted, as people don't want to discuss with one another anymore. They want endless apologies and submission. People are expecting those from me, will get neither. Never apologize to these people. He has nothing to apologize for. I look, I supported Trump too. And I supported Trump even though when he was running, he had said some things that were kind of offensive to me, right? Because again, I'm Muslim. And there was this whole thing back then about the Muslim ban, and the way Trump was talking about it pissed me off. Now, the actual ban was bans from countries with terrorist activities, not banning Muslims altogether, right? But again, that doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter at all. It's just if you supported Trump, I guess that means you're racist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, whatever. And you supporting Democrats in the past or currently or African American candidates, whatever, that doesn't matter either. I guess so being a Trump supporter, they just want to take away everything that he has, and they're willing to dox him and make death threats at him and his pregnant wife, which is just, oh man. Oh, fucking man. I've always been supportive of creators and have tried to treat everyone fairly and treat everyone with dignity and respect. I've never cared about anyone's race, religion, gender, or orientation. I just treat people as people, everyone the same, and because of that, I've ended up with a very diverse group of people that I've worked with over the years. It wasn't intentional. It just happened that way. I choose people who are best for the job. I treat everyone the same, and I ended up with people from all walks of life in my professional life and my personal life as well. That's the way it should be. That's the way I want it to be. That's the way I will continue to be. Good. Like, if you actually believe in diversity, right, you should hire the best candidates for the job, right? If you believe diversity is going ahead and picking someone because of their race, sex, or orientation, regardless of their skill set, I think that all you're doing is creating something incredibly toxic and something that will not appeal to anyone, right? I'm a Republican. I'm a Christian. I'm pro-life. I believe in God. I also believe in equality and in science and in common sense. Despite what some may say, all of those things can go together. That's not an apology or a promise to change. It's the way it's always been. If I get canceled, then I get canceled. I don't do this for the money anymore. I do it because I enjoy it. If people think I'm doing more harm than good now, then maybe it's better that I get canceled and retire. I would accept that. I've had a fulfilling career. Besides, most things that people can take from you are things that never had much value to begin with. I have always loved and will continue to love this community and this fan base if someday it doesn't include me anymore. And so that's his full statement. I agree with everything in the statement. There is no apology here because he has nothing to apologize for. But one thing I kind of realized being a member of a ton of different fandoms and communities is at a certain point, there tends to be a small vocal minority that starts demanding that people act differently to make them feel better. Right? And I feel like that's kind of what happened to Scott, right? They found out that he was a Trump supporter. They found out he was a Republican. They didn't care that he's donated to Democrats in the past. They didn't care what he actually believed in. That was enough to go after this man in the most disgusting and cowardly way possible. And if you're someone who believes that the way you solve a dispute with someone's politics when it's over a game in which their politics and their faith have nothing to do with anything, you're disgusting, and you're a coward, and you're trash, and you should be condemned outright. And if you think doing this shit benefits the LGBTQ community in any way, shape, or form, I can promise you it does the exact opposite. It makes it, and again, I don't think that this is all the LGBTQ community in Five Nights at Freddy's doing this. I think it is a small vocal minority of toxic and hateful people who are in no way benefiting that community. If anything, it's making that entire community look psychotic and deranged. I think that the way of handling the subreddit, all you really can do at this point is lock the threads. Like, you literally have to, because any conversation in these threads is just going to turn into batshit fucking crazy stupid, right? Like, Man, I have no words to the shit that happened. They actually threatened his whole family, even his pregnant wife, and now he's actually thinking about retiring. I'm just fucking disgusted by this fan base. He is fucking human, just like us. A human with fucking emotions and with family to take care of, especially his wife right now. And thanks to some fucking dickheads, they actually managed to make her that much worried. Jesus Christ, I'm not surprised that all this fucking shit show came from fucking Twitter. He never wanted to hurt certain groups of people. Never. But because some people react like assholes before waiting for an official response by Scott, we ended up like this, and he's actually thinking about retiring. We don't deserve someone like Scott. If he doesn't want to interact with us anymore, I will totally get it. Right? To be fair, though, I do like this. Twitter was a mistake. Cancel Twitter. Yeah. Like, how about this? So many people who I follow and stuff are still really upset at Scott, and I just straight up unfollowed them because I really don't get how, with his beliefs and how he donated however much these Republicans, would still invalidate everything good he has done in the last few years. Some even saying to stop financially supporting him because of his crappy response he put out. I don't see how him being honest here is a bad thing. He has supported LGBT and won't go against that ever. And just the economic aspect isn't enough to satisfy those because Republicans are very anti-LGBTQ. Scott bad for response. Man. Good. Like, look, if he decides to retire, I don't think he should. I think Scott should stick to the game, right? I think it's his baby. It's his creation. He loves this community. And largely, I think his community supports him. It was some abject rejects on Twitter pulling this shit, threatening him, threatening his family, doxing him, right? I don't think that represents the Five Nights at Freddy community, to the best of my knowledge, because I have skimmed through this subreddit as best I can. I don't see anyone really trying to go after Scott. I have seen some hateful comments here and there, but a large portion of these Reddit threads are supporting Scott. And look, if you like Five Nights at Freddy's and you're on the left and you're a Democrat and all that other stuff, you should still support the game, right? Because the game has nothing to do with your politics. Anyways, those are my thoughts and opinion. Shout out again to Toy Bounty Hunters, who I thought did a great job covering this. And you all let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. But again, good on Scott for refusing to bow down to the pressure. Good on him.